Welcome to The Real Wine Show. We're a game show meets a talk show, all wrapped up in a podcast that's totally obsessed with wine culture. I'm Chad.
And I'm Christy.
And we're here to do our part to engage the wine community both locally and globally, and to have a ton of fun along the way. Our first segment is Spot the Corker, where we'll be reading some wild and possibly made up news stories, and it's up to our panelists to figure out if they're true or totally corked.
Next up is our second segment, the emotive blind tasting. Forget all those fancy, stuffy wine terms like tannins and vintages. We're going to throw them out the window. Instead, we're diving into how wine really makes you feel. Does it spark a memory or perhaps remind you of a song that takes you back? Whatever it is, we want to hear all about it. You won't want to miss the fun, so let's go ahead and dive in.
Let's go. All right, well, let's get into it. We have a terrific panel today for... Which episode are we on? That doesn't matter too much. I think this is episode 3.
Sounds about right.
Season 5, episode 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a great set of guests. Unfortunately, my co-host Christy is out. She is unwell, so I'm going to be relying on the panel to carry the show today. But not for nothing. I'm going to give you each 1,000 extra points for taking on the responsibility of carrying the show. So
thank you.
I'm making a note right now here, plus 1K for each of you. So that brings you that much closer to going into the record books, the Hall of Fame for the Real Wine Show. So,
do we get one of those like big busts that they have at the Pro Football Hall
no,
of Fame?
you don't get anything. That's how that works. Yeah,
I did try to trade my points last time for chips. I think that worked out.
We can probably do for
Yeah,
chips. Yes,
yeah.
that will work.
I like it.
That we can do.
What kind of chips were there?
So
There were some just excellent tortilla chips.
some
Some of my favorite brands.
Were they
Yeah.
crunchy?
They were very.
what you're hearing is chatter from the panelists, and let me introduce them. We have returning with us one of our veteran panelists, Chris Hunter, who is really most famous. He's one of the most famous wine guys, I would say, in Michigan, because everyone goes.
Go with that.
Yeah, everybody goes through Detroit Metro Airport, and all the wine enthusiasts know Vino Volo.
That's right.
Chris, you do a great job over there. People love you. I've seen it. I've seen you in action. I love you. Vino Volo is a haven for wine-loving travelers.
Man, I love all these compliments.
Yeah, man,
these are great compliments. And I'm a Leo, so we expect all the compliments to come our way. But man, Chad, I'm loving the compliments.
Good. Well, it's a great spot. You do great work there. So we thank you for coming back on to the show.
Yes.
Thank you. We're also joined by Catherine Kurth. Again, someone very
Hello.
very famous, for Detroit food people. You have you've done your wine service work, your sommelier work, a lot of places.
Yeah. Lady of the House.
Chartreuse, Freya.
Craft work for the real OGs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. All over the place. So Detroit food people will recognize you, although now you're on the wholesale side with Woodbury Wine.
I am.
Selling to all the best
Yeah, I sell wine to
shops.
people who sell wine.
Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you for coming out again, too. This is
So
your
glad to be
return
here.
trip to the podcast.
Thank you.
And on his maiden voyage, Jarett Coy is here, too.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, many people will recognize Jarett from Instagram, where you've been lighting up the wine scene with your Detroit scene-specific Instagram under the handle Vino in Detroit. So
Yes.
check that out if you haven't done it. But that's Jarett Coy. So, Jarett, let's start with you too, and let's have you tell us. I'll ask each of you in turn for your wine origin story.
Sure. Yeah. And Chad, thanks for having me so much, man.
For sure.
My family's been in the wine business my whole life for as long as I can remember, and I've really only gotten into I would say good wine and gotten really geeky and nerdy and passionate about it in the past probably 5 to 7 years. And my dad opened a wine shop in Myrtle Beach and built this really cool community of people. And so I was like, hey, can I try that really cool wine? Can I try that? And it's, the rest is kind of history. I started this Instagram account called Vino in Detroit, and initially it was just to kind of keep track of the wines that my wife and I were drinking. And all of a sudden had a couple more followers, and next thing I know, I had a good following, and I just want to try to connect people with good wine and help people find wine that is local and go somewhere else except a grocery store or a CVS. Your dollar goes really far. So post about the wine I like, and excited to learn from you all today.
Let me say too, though, your wine origin story also involves me, because I met your dad. Man, back in probably 98 or 99, wow. I think it was Signature. Was that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Signature. He was right at the forefront of the Cali cult wine thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was at my first buying gig then. I was down at right down the street here at Cost Plus World Market back when they were doing wine. And he came in, and that's how I met Dave Coy.
He's an OG, man.
Yeah.
He's a throwback. It's so funny.
But now, see, I don't know. Now that kind of by association makes me a throwback OG. I'm still feeling young and
We
fresh.
wouldn't be here
I hope he is
without
too. I hope he is enjoying his life. Yeah.
He's in his upper 70s, and he's opening an Italian restaurant. So
Fantastic.
This guy's got
cool.
crazy energy. I don't know how, but his wine style is so much different from mine. We'll have to talk about that at some point. But it's really funny how different it is. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Well, welcome on, man. Glad
you.
to have you. Your wine origin story, Catherine. How about that?
Yes. Well, so I mean, I was a lifelong restaurant worker, and I realized when I was working at Andiamo in the Renaissance Center that the more I knew about wine, the better my check averages were, and the more the guests liked me. So it was very practical beginnings.
Yes,
but
yes.
then I think I just had like a couple of random aha moments with some wines, just generally, that eventually built to me wanting to make it a career. I took a very brief hiatus working in a corporate job, and I hated it so much. I felt like so out of place, like a shark on top of a mountain, kind of out of place. And went back to restaurant. Yeah,
Never heard that one before, but that
Sounds familiar.
yes,
I could follow along. That sounds out of place.
real upset. So went back into restaurants and was like, well, I don't want to do anything else, so I'm going to become a sommelier, and I did, and here I am now.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, that was, I think I made that official transition back in like 2014 or 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
Here I
Well,
am.
thank you.
Thanks.
What, Chris, is your wine origin story? And I know this,
wow,
I don't know
wow.
if it's the whole thing, but like Jared's, I think yours also involves me
Involves
because
you. Well,
I made
well,
the trip, the long trip out to the
gods-
sticks.
The wine gods and goddesses called me one day, and they were like, "We need some diversity in this wine world." And I'm like, "Well, we have
Yeah.
chop, but we need some dreads." So I was like,
that-
we need a.
Was there a thunderclap with
Yeah,
that?
it was definitely a thunderclap.
Yeah, yeah.
It was definitely a big thunderclap, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"All right, man, I'll be your guy, guys." But no, I actually my dad got me in the industry.
Yeah.
He actually opened a wine bar called Positive Vibration Wine Bar.
Yes.
And that was when I was actually in going to school in college, and he was like, "Son, you want to come help me run this?" And I was like, "Sure. What the heck? Why not?" And so that's kind of what put me into the business. And then I just fell in love with it. And just in terms of, I think about like life callings all the time and what what we're here to do. And I always think about connecting. Connecting is everything. We're here to help. And so, through wine, I found like even it relates to music, as related to music, as related to art. It's one of the best ways to connect with people.
Yes, absolutely. Cool.
So that's definitely my calling.
So, yeah, when I was selling wine, I made a trip way out, like north of Detroit, North Detroit burbs, like down like winding country roads over hill and dale to get to your dad's shop. What was that place called? Like, what town is it? Not even a
That
town.
was Lake Orient.
Lake Orient.
Okay.
Oh, that's far.
Which
Yeah.
back then was that was the sticks.
It was a weird.
It felt
it's
like
a
it to
weird
me.
area. Well,
It felt like it to
it's
me.
Around Auburn Hills as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So like on the other side, it's like there's like the mall, like one of the biggest malls in Michigan.
Okay.
And then, but on the other side, you go further down. It almost feels like the boonies. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And this was, I mean, that was a while ago.
That was back in the days.
Yeah, yeah. So good. Okay, those are our panelists. Let's put them to the test and get things started here. Cool. So as you know, our first segment is our news true false thing. So I'm going to read a news story to you, and then ask you each in turn whether you think it's true or false, and then I will accord scores based on the quality of your response. Now, it doesn't really matter if it's you're right or wrong. This is a discussion show, so we want you to just let your feelings out and yeah, let it out. Okay, let's start off with something here that is called Reign of the Tech. One of the newest technical, I know. I was listening to the Beatnuts at the time. You know the Beatnuts, and they have a song called Reign of the Tech. We're talking about the Tech 9.
Are you gonna sing it for us? John?
No.
Todd, you have a lovely voice.
No, I don't.
Thank you. Todd, come on.
And I can't remember lyrics. And yeah, anyway. Reign of the Tech. One of the newest technical innovations in winemaking is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to optimize vineyard management and wine production. AI is now being used to analyze vast amounts of data collected from sensors in vineyards, such as weather patterns, soil conditions, and grape ripeness, allowing winemakers to make more precise decisions on irrigation, harvesting times, and even blending techniques. Machine learning algorithms also can predict the best times for picking grapes to ensure optimal flavor profiles and even help improve fermentation processes. Some wineries are also using AI-powered systems to monitor fermentation in real time, adjusting variables like temperature and humidity for consistent quality control. The tech is not only improving efficiency, but also helping to produce wines that are more consistent, environmentally sustainable, and tailored to consumer preferences. It may not be what we need, but as Ripley discovered in the 1979 thriller Alien, Mother Knows Best. That's a movie reference, Katie, that's for you. 1979 thriller Alien, Mother. Remember the computer?
Yes.
And Alien, Mother, yeah. Mother Knows Best.
Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver,
All right.
you got it. Okay, that's an extra 100 points for Jarett.
I'm off to a hot start.
Yeah,
Let's
hot
go,
start,
Vino in
baby.
Detroit.
Cool. My question to you folks is AI being used to grow grapes and make wine nowadays? Jump in, whomever would like
God,
to go
I
first.
hope
Whoever would like to go
not.
first. You hope not.
I hope
Is
not.
AI the devil to you guys? What do you think?
I
And this is
What
the
is it-
essential
what is
question. Yes,
what
you're
is
getting to it.
AI to you guys? What does AI mean to you
AI
guys?
is
Is it the takeover?
I mean, so many resources go into like one simple question into Chat GPT takes like, I don't know, 30 gallons of water or some stupid shit like
It
that.
is crazy.
It's terrible.
Yeah, we have heard that, yes.
And I really don't like just from like the philosophical stance of involving technology overly in winemaking. I hate it. And I don't want AI to be involved in winemaking.
So
But
regardless of whether it's true or false,
regardless of my wants and desires.
you're going, I hope not. False. No. Can't be true.
I'm going 100% true here. And this,
Okay.
I
maybe
think that it probably is happening.
Oh, you're going true, Catherine? Okay.
Yeah, like because the things that I hate are the things that are happening right now. So I'm going to say that it's probably happening.
agree. I hope that it's not being used to decide every move in the vineyard and in the cellar. I hope that it's giving I hope that it's a different tool for a winemaker rather than like, saying what to do at what time and creating a recipe based on AI.
Right.
But I do think this is true. And speaking kind of from my day job, AI is definitely taking shit over.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
But it does. I
Yeah.
found that it saved me time, and it's not taking shortcuts, but it's helped save me time from a productivity perspective. So maybe that's where it's helping winemakers.
Which is
a little bit.
amazing because
Yeah.
that's been a long time coming where tech has actually saved time. It feels like
Right.
tech over my lifetime has just added to my workload. It has not done.
Right.
So that's cool.
Well, thank you for your sacrifices.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Chris, where are you on this one? Are you gonna deviate? Is AI being used in the vineyards?
It
in the
is.
cellars?
I feel in a lot of ways we're in an AI takeover, and that's kind of what's being implemented. I want to talk about the part of kind of what you guys are mentioning, but the almost taking the soul out. So I think about where it gets to the point where algorithms are guessing or telling us what clothes we're going to put on, or telling us what food we're going to eat. And it takes the creative realm out of it.
Right.
And so this is kind of problematic because you have certain points where it's already writing papers for you.
Right.
Losing the creativity and losing the soul part is everything that we are and everything that we represent. So I feel like it definitely has to be a balance. I feel the tedious stuff, I like tedious stuff to be taken care of as well. So I definitely, and never forget, like, I mean, I know AI comes from us. So it's how we program it. And so I definitely think there's a way of in implementing it and intelligently programming it to something that more so represents us rather than some of the data. You never know what kind of data some of these people are getting and if it's correct or not.
Chris, you don't have to worry about this. If Trump is taking care of it, don't worry.
Oh, God.
He's got it under
You
control.
spoke
everyone.
Voldemort's name.
I know. I should
How
not have
dare
said
you?
that. I know. Man, I probably cursed the whole show now. Fuck.
Yeah,
Where's the sage stick? Come on.
Yeah.
We need a bell.
Well, you folks are not living under a rock, which is obvious. It is true, and you brought up a great point too, Catherine, about how there are, of course, environmental demands. I mean, yes, it can be used for good, but there's a backside to it, and it really takes.
At what great cost?
Yes, right. I have a little factoid here that says in 2022, Google data centers consumed 5 billion gallons of fresh water for cooling And Microsoft's water consumption rose by 34% that year. And we're talking California, right?
Wow.
They're usually,
They're
it's
having
not on
some
fire,
problems with
it's on
that right now,
it's
aren't
drought.
they?
So
Just a little.
yeah. God giveth and God taketh away, I suppose is how that works. So that's great. I'm going to go 100 points for each of you. Jarett, you're running the extra bonus 100 points so far. I forget what we gave it to you for, but
Sigourney.
Sigourney Weaver
Is
calls
it
it.
Sigourney or is it Sojourny? I thought it was Sojourny.
come
I've-
on. It's
Sigourney?
Sigourney. No. I'm going to deduct 50 for that. I'm sorry, Catherine.
What?
That was we. What?
All right.
All right, now.
That's what I heard growing up.
Sojourney?
Yeah, Sojourny Weaver.
Anyone?
You
It is
say
Sigourney.
tomato and I say tomato.
Kate, no,
You say
no.
potato
No.
and I
it's
say
okay.
potato.
No.
I'll
It is.
accept the deduction.
It is
It's
Sigourney.
okay.
No, we're not gonna do that to you.
Thanks.
We're gonna roll here and jump. Before we jump into our next question, though, let me do a quick glass check. What are you folks drinking? What do you think about it? Tell us a little something. Yes, it looks like everybody's got something different in their glasses. Go,
I just
Catherine.
had
yeah.
a swallow of.
Swallow.
Yes, well, I just swallowed the rest of it. It was Plessard from Domaine Ligier. They are a Jura producer in Arbois. They have a pretty bare bones website, and I couldn't remind myself anything about the producer, and I remembered why, because there isn't a whole lot of information about them as people. But
Okay.
but
But
they've
the
been
wine?
they've been in the Jura for ever, I guess, and then making wine for just themselves. Then in the 80s, somebody decided to go to school for it and started selling.
Oh, okay.
This is Plessard. It's a classic Jura variety, very light in body. Kind of has like a nice brickish tint to it.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm looking
have
forward to
some.
trying some of that too.
Yeah, go for it. This was one of my aha wines. It's distributed by Canna, imported by Charles Neal. Al Kobayashi brought this to me when I was at Lady of the House, and
Some eggs.
Yes, and some eggs. I love the eggs. Favorite Eggman.
Yeah.
But it's just light bodied. It has this beautiful aromatics to it. Some vintages are a bit more barnyardy than others. This one I think is pretty clean. But it's very minimal intervention across the board, and it has like rhubarb and cranberry, and then like there's some forest floor and maybe a barn down the road, and it's I love this wine.
Awesome. Good.
Some
Good.
really cool stuff. And I hate to go with the trends, but I love Jura. Jura is super cool. I know it's sort of like a hype region right now on social media, but
Well,
it's
I found out
fantastic.
about this one in 2018.
You were ahead of the game. No, this is
Yeah.
great.
What's interesting for me about Jura is it used to be, I mean, like before we were on the high acid trend, that was the place you would go for like those really crispy, bright, high acid wines. And lately they've been getting so luscious.
Totally.
It's just kind of wacky doodle to me. I don't know. That's a climate change thing, but we can.
Same thing with Burgundies. I've
Yeah, word.
the same exact thing with red Burgundies these days. It's like tasting like
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's true. It's crazy. All right. Did you have a? Do you want to wait? What you're drinking?
I
Everybody's
was
now.
actually. I want to bring up this Pinot Blanco.
Yeah.
Sure.
Still in the
It's lovely.
game. It's hella aromatic, love dryness, and it's literally. I mean, the fruit's dancing on the palate. I always think about texture when it comes to wine, and this is a texturally savvy wine.
Who's the producer and vintage on that
So
again?
this is Gino Taro Jura. This is an Alsatian producer. He's kind of like the new kid on the block in Alsace, but he does Riesling, he does Pinot Blanc. He's got a really nice Pinot Noir, which I'm aging in my cellar, which is just a basement in my or a closet in my basement. But
As it should be.
yeah, he ages.
Have you
in-
tried the Pinot Noir already?
I haven't tried the Pinot yet. I really want to though. But I've heard I was at a wine bar in New York called Friday, and the owner said you've got to check out Gino Taro Jura. His wines are super cool. They're a little bit more dry than sort of what you'd expect from a typical Alsace Riesling or Pinot Blanc, and I really dig it so far. It's nice.
Super cool. I'm curious about that Pinot Noir. I
Yeah.
mean, I really enjoyed the Trimbach does a Pinot Noir
Yeah.
Trimbach is
from
insane.
Alsace, and wow.
Yeah.
I mean that it just delivers.
Alsace is so cool. I want to learn more about it.
I
For
also
sure.
love the Kunstfass Pinot Noir. That's like
Yeah, they make good Pinot
Oh,
and Alsace
yeah.
for sure. Well, excellent. Those are good. A good glass check. I'm going to award 50 bonus points to each of you guys because you're
Ooh.
excellent work. So we'll do that, and we'll jump into our next news story for you here.
Do I get any bonus points for singing or If I sing to you, no.
Let's stay.
All right,
50 points minimum.
Yeah.
I'm just trying.
Let's stay on target.
I didn't know if there was any extra points.
Well,
I mean,
Jared's
getting all the extra points over here. I felt slighted a little bit. Felt slighted a a little bit, Chad.
We're not even 20 minutes in yet. Just take it
You've
easy.
offended the Leo, Chad.
Cool
Be
your
careful.
jets. Cool your jets. Cool your jets. This piece is, what do I want to call this one? Let me try something for you here. I have one name for it, but I'm going to try something else. It came to me last night while I was sleeping. You're only supposed to blow the corks off. That's the name of this news article.
That's really good, Chad.
Was that Russia?
It was supposed to be Russia.
I like
That
it.
was
That was
really
great.
good.
All right. So the story goes, Europe's wine elite got a nasty hangover in late 2024 after authorities busted a high-end wine counterfeiting ring selling fake French vintage wines for up to 15,000 euros a bottle. The international gang, led by a Russian national, was operating across Italy and France, passing off ordinary Italian red wines as prestigious labels like Romani Conti, scamming collectors and luxury buyers out of an estimated 2 million euros. The scheme came crashing down when police coordinated multiple undercover stings and raids across northern Italy, arresting people, seizing bottles, fake labels, and printing equipment, putting a cork in the fraudsters' operations. The moral of the story, if something shisty is going on, there's probably a Russian behind it. Wow. You know, it seems on trend. You know, it's
100% true.
Shots fired.
all courant. But seriously, watch out for the Russians. They're up to no good. So, panel, is this a xenophobic libel, or did Europol bust a gang selling cheap Italian wines as Domaine Romani Conti? This is my question to you guys.
I think the Russians probably would do something like this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Da.
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 I think honestly
Catherine's a
anyone
true on that.
would do this if you come from any country where you don't like to,
she's being
interact
playing
with
the politics.
Europeans. But
Why are these Russian accents so good, guys? Like, these are a little, like, creepy good.
I told you I went to school for theater. Anyway,
Excellent. Good. All right. Catherine's a true on it. Gentlemen, what about you guys?
I'm going true. I feel like I've seen a documentary about this, but maybe it was the American version.
You did see a documentary, and I
Yeah.
know I was thinking exactly of the documentary you're thinking of as well.
So you're
and I'm
true,
trying to think
too.
of the name.
Yep. What?
And it was,
it's on
uh,
Netflix,
Well,
maybe.
okay. There
this
was
was just in 2024. I think the documentary was probably
That was an
about.
older
and
It
this
was an
is-
older documentary.
It's only March. It was probably a documentary about somebody else fucking us over, but
I think so. That was that famous guy, Rudy.
He just got out.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
did
just
just
got
get
out.
out. Yeah,
He just
He's
got out, and he's
internet.
back to
Who
and
bailed
he's-
him out? Constellation Brand?
probably.
Oh, shots fired.
Whoa.
Shots
Yeah.
fired.
This show is getting hot in here.
I'm going true, though.
No, the Russians built him out.
Yeah.
I'm going true just because I know Rudy did it before. I know it's possible.
Fraud happens, yeah.
And the Russians, period. Enough said.
There you go. Yeah. Chris, you're the.
Yeah, I have to go. I felt that I resonated with it as well.
It's terrible because the Russians have such a beautiful culture.
I
Just
think
the
it,
politics.
Yeah. I'm sure they're fine people.
it is really interesting though. And it's an interesting discussion in terms of like the wines that are collector wines. And it's a kind of a limited expression within the wine industry because you're not having these conversations with, everybody when it comes to certain, the first, second growths. So, it doesn't matter. Like only certain kind of people can afford these wines.
Right.
And so it's only catering to a certain kind of demographic. That demographic is really interesting because I think about even, people for like, that buy artists such as like Basquiat, or artists that were all about what was that one artist, Banksy,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that had that
He's
was
still
all about
around.
talking
He's
against
still
a man,
He's still around.
but only certain people can afford this art, and so it's
Vanity
a really interesting realm. But there's definitely when there's that much money on a certain kind of level, there's definitely a lot of fraud that goes on.
Yeah.
And so I definitely want to say, it's true, but it is a really interesting realm too, the collector's item realm.
I'm sort of imagining they're at the top of this skyscraper, and it's the moment in the James Bond film where it's a bunch of rich guys and there's a supervillain in there. The Russian is selling them a fake wine. They're looking out over this beautiful, like, ultra expensive. There's fake Domani Romani Conti everywhere, and then James Bond appears and he takes a bottle for himself. So he's happy.
Well, you are again, as you said earlier, you are shrewd folks. That is a true story.
Lovely.
Yeah, and the ringleader was Russian, so
Wow.
say,
No, I took
put
a-
it where you want. But
I took a Russian culture class in college, and like so many fascinating things, like folk culture and stuff. And it's just like,
yeah, no, I'm not
what, they're
slamming.
forgetting their roots.
Yeah, maybe
I love
it-
chess. I love
Okay.
classical music.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No.
Yeah, and that's really
Triggers and some traumas going on over here.
Right.
yeah, that's really what it is. But what I wanted to get at with this question was what I was thinking about was the whole like the counterfeiting of prestige bottles. You think that is kind of coming to an end in a way? Like well, here's my thought is that, Domaine Romani Conti, Domaine Leroy, all these the Burgundy things, like have they gotten so far out of reach? Probably going on a couple of 3 generations now that, say buyers in 10 years aren't really going to care. They're not going to want to spend $20,000 to get a couple bottles of this stuff, are they? Or
I think that there's in that sentiment. I think there's an underestimation of people's desire for status,
yes,
and
true. Yeah,
that's what's driving things like this in the first place. And
that's true.
yeah, it's
Okay.
all a vanity project.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly right. And even like
No, you're right.
you look at certain ways people like can go around the taxes as well. Well, you buy art, or you buy wine, art.
Okay.
So there's something to be said.
So
like,
as an
rich people
investment
do things on a different level.
Yeah.
People. So and so that's why I always say, and even so, it's really interesting because point of reference wise, a lot of times people see a lot of these wines in movies. And that's
Right.
what their point of reference is. But even that's why I say like you only discuss about it so much because it might represent what like 10% of the
Right.
industry. It's not like you're selling these wines every day or even talking about having this discussion about these high-end wines. But it's only to the collectors where it's a thing or in movies.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I just think maybe I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a shift. You guys see a shift, right? Jarett, the stuff that you're focusing on, for example, on your Instagram videos and things. I rarely see you going to like what I would call the established classics. And I
Yes.
see you looking at more of the, the emerging like natural wine producers
Totally.
and this kind of thing.
I think there's this culture out there of people that are, just buying what they see on Instagram. I think that can be a
Yes.
good thing and a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to learn about wine, you see a label and you say, okay, I'm seeing a lot of people drink this. But I find what the cool part about wine is trying new winemakers that I like. Of course, I love Domani Labay and I love Demore Chablis, but it's cool to find new things and try new things. And, but there's definitely a prestige element to like the cool natural wines, the Domani Miroirs and the Labays. So
Yeah.
I hear you.
It's
Yeah.
almost like a status in opposition to the predecessors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
And you almost wonder, like, do you like the wine? Like, is the wine good? Like,
Is it
do you
actually
enjoy
good,
the
or is
wine?
it just a mouse house?
Exactly.
Well, and that's exactly right. I mean, I think some people get so caught up on the name or the status, and I feel
Yeah.
like the new generation, the modern generation, is that we want to have a different kind of conversation,
Right.
Yeah.
because there's so
right.
much more out there, and that's like and so at a certain point, what is it like? So you're a doctor, you go get your BMW, you get your Mercedes, and what do you drink? You drink Camus.
Yeah.
You go name drop Camus, but at a certain point, it's like and the problem with that sometimes is you might have people that only drink Napa Cabernets, but they think they drink all the best wine in the industry and they know all about wine and
Right.
so it's a certain kind of perspective. And so for me, it's just okay. That's fine that exists, but let's represent another kind of conversation within it.
Yeah.
It's keeping up with the Joneses and like different niche groups.
Yeah, your
Totally.
point there, I think,
Yeah.
is great too. Like, I mean, like Ferraris have been out of touch for most people, right? But,
Yeah.
especially for my family, for generations.
Same.
But I would still
Never
buy
been
one.
in touch
I would,
with mine.
well, yeah, no,
Yeah.
not that I'm aware of. I would still buy one quick, fast, though, if I could. So to your point. Well, excellent. That's good. You all are going full points on that round, so excellent.
All right.
Excellent work there.
How many points this time?
How many points is that?
You're gonna get your crackers today.
We're gonna.
Or was it tortilla chips?
Yes.
Trying to go for.
I don't see much.
It is our
What
second.
do we cash these points in for? Well,
It is
those
our
tortilla chips. Okay.
It's our second question, so going up. The point value has risen to 200.
Oh.
So yes, 200 across the board. So excellent
All
work
right.
there. Let's hit one more of our news true false stories before we jump into our next segment, the wine ciphers. This one is called Beaujolais.
Ooh.
Beaujolais.
God damn.
In a surprising twist to the story of declining wine sales in the U.S., American hipster males have catapulted Beaujolais wine sales to record-breaking levels, citing its, quote, vintage vibes and grape integrity, end quote. Brooklyn sommelier and part-time banjo maker River Moonbeam claims Beaujolais pairs perfectly with vinyl records and existential conversations, resonating strongly with the cultural zeitgeist of the New York City enclave.
Man.
Sales skyrocketed of Beaujolais, skyrocketed after a viral TikTok fad showcased hipsters sipping the iconic Gamay from reclaimed mason jars while munching tuna crudo at a
That's
Brooklyn
a bad pairing.
at Brooklyn Natural Wine Temple, the Four Horsemen. Whole Foods even reported record-setting sales of Beaujolais Nouveau in 24.
Wow.
Experts are divided on whether this trend will survive Trump 2.0, but Beaujolais. I know we're going there. I told you something bad happened at the outset of the show.
I love Chad's creative writing
So
skills.
we're going there.
Are impressive,
impressive.
by the way.
Experts are divided on whether this trend will survive Trump 2.0, but Beaujolais renegades Matthew and Camille Lapierre are following in their family's footsteps and again revolutionizing Beaujolais, this time with co-ferments with a kombucha SCOBY. Adaptogenic Morgon, anyone? So, panelists, dear panelists, are hipsters driving Beaujolais sales?
How are you not a creative writer, Chad? That's crazy.
My one edit would have been existential breakdown rather than conversation.
I like the zeitgeist part. That
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
me.
no,
that
that's
got
good.
me.
I like that word.
That made me feel some type of way.
I think like guys.
I was like,
Part-time
Chad likes
banjo maker.
zeitgeist.
Yeah.
As soon as you said River Moonbeam, the
Yeah.
name River, I knew it was true. I knew it was true. Right?
Yes,
Oh, God.
Beaujolais. So, who's gonna take it?
No, just
I'm like,
no.
but
Catherine said no.
the thing is like I like the start of that.
Yeah.
That could have been a whole thing.
Yeah.
Because that there
We can make it happen.
and I enjoy the new trends because it adds a new conversation in any sense. Like even like the natural wines. It's a whole conversation, and I remember getting giddy back in the days about trying them, but it in any sense it has a conversation, and that's so important within this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might not like pair. There might not be the best pairing wines per se, so especially the ones that are out there with the oxidation reduction quality. But it's
Sure.
like essentially they're a really good conversation.
Totally. And
So
first of all, I feel seen by this description. No, but I agree with Chris. It's there's a lot of these trends happening, and I think
Wait,
about
I'm
like
sorry. Were you a true or false on that?
I was.
False.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go false, but this kind of reminds me of like skin contact. Like you say skin contact, and I feel like some people in the biz say, oh, like kind of like give people a hard time for liking skin contact or orange wine, and because it's very trendy, right? Shame, yeah, tons of shame.
No, shame on them for.
Oh,
Yeah.
for.
yeah, like I feel like it's a cool, people get into the wine world through things like that. They see a wine that's a different color, and I know a lot of people that are like my friends and people that interact with Vino in Detroit are like, hey, I saw this orange wine. Is that made of oranges? And I'm like, no, but
Awesome.
this is something you should try, and it's interesting, and it tastes good, and there's a little tannin. So I think you're right, Chris. Like it's a conversation, and it brings new people into the wine world.
Exactly right.
100%. Yeah, I mean, like it's when wine, for a lot of people, wine is something that their parents or their grandparents drink, or somebody who
Yeah.
that they can't really relate to on a personal level. So when they're drawn to something new, it's like, wait, what the fuck is that? Or they see somebody doing something like that, looks really interesting. It is that conversation piece.
Yeah.
And that is how trends start. And that is how things become more normalized and exposed. And just, it's rising tides raise all ships, right? And there's a good component to that. But for Christ's sake, that story is false. I think you should get points. I think you should get points for your writing skills, personally.
Those writing
No.
skills were on point.
I can't take I can't take too much credit for that because Beaujolais was the name.
God.
That was that was Jarett Gill and,
Yes.
and his brother Tristan.
Of course.
Years ago. John's here now, and we were doing Wine Jeopardy at the.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, they were the Beaujolais team, and I loved it.
remember
That was so
that.
clever. That was the guilds.
Yeah,
so that's all
yeah,
credit due there.
The trends are really important, and I feel like even in the sense of representing wine countries that have been doing this forever but never represented within the scene. So for example, I brought this wine on. Great Lakes just brought a bunch of Mexican wines on.
Yeah.
And
you,
man,
Vicino.
I mean, they blew me out the water.
Who was just on that? Somebody told me they were just down at Lena. Who was it? You?
Well, it's Vicino.
That was me.
or Vicino. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was me. I told you Lena.
Oh, Lena. Okay, Lena. Yeah.
Lena,
But Vicino was all
Yeah,
Mexican wine
Vicino,
list
it's
now.
100%.
Yeah, Mexican. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, and it's it's so important to have these conversations because people don't even know like Mexico is one of the oldest wine growing regions in North America.
Wow.
And this is not even a conversation that's even had with any education or anything. And so in that sense, we within the wine world sometimes we get so caught up on notoriety and the names and there's a bunch of regions that have never been represented that have been doing this for years and years and years. And they deserve a voice as well.
Totally.
Agreed.
Yeah. Do you think so? Then are these trends? Call them, or just new ways of looking at wine, whether it's natural wine or what did you say? You had orange wine. You're saying
Yeah.
like orange wines, natural wine.
contact.
Oh, there's our guy. Yeah, whatever it is, clean wine, lifestyle wine. Is that going to save the wine industry? Because it's bringing in more people. Because that's what you've been talking about. You've been talking about expanding. The appeal of wine, that bringing people in a way that, say, your parents, Bordeaux, collection is not going to do.
Well,
It
I
has to.
don't know if like saving the wine industry, like what are we saving it from? Because so much of the wine industry has become hyper commercialized and commodified. And if we're saving it to preserve that, then I really fucking hope it doesn't, because there's no business in that existing in that way anyhow. But the reality of Western society is that there is this performative status thing that goes on, and I think that the trends and things that we're seeing these days with this new wave, if you will, is a push against that. And I think that there's a huge value and importance to encourage that. And I think in general, if we can, rather than save the wine industry, transform it into something that is less performative and more genuine, then I'm all for it.
I love that.
Totally.
There's nothing new under the sun. And this is one of the things about these trends is that the reality is that they've actually been going on forever.
Yep.
And so this is the
been making
indigenous
orange wine in
practices
Georgia
that
for
were just
8,000
never-
years.
Right.
that were never represented. Exactly. So it's like when Chad, when you brought the Georgian wines on the scene, it was like they've been doing this forever.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't.
this is just not a represented thing,
Yeah.
and all these practices, and so this is actually giving a conversation about things that actually was never seen with and never even represented within the industry. So it's not just trendy; it's actually bringing it back from like indigenous practices
What's old
and
is new
ancient
again.
practices that we never just even talked about. Right?
Totally. And like, I think of the whole natural wine thing, and like, I still use the word natural wine. I know there's not really like a clear
Yeah,
definition.
I do
and-
too, actually. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
I don't think, but
It's some of the most prestigious and DRC is a natural winery. They're
enough, yeah.
organic practice, and so to your point, it's like these winemakers have been doing this for a while, and so I think like there's this sort of sect of people who say like it's all about the chemicals not being included in the wine, which whatever, I don't care about that, but it's I think that the natural.
Interesting
I
perspective.
I do care, and I don't want them there.
Well, I don't. I think so many people are like, well, I'm only willing to drink 0.0, and some people
Right.
think that's like the way into the new generation of wine drinkers,
Oh,
right?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like
fair.
I don't think that's the truth. I think like people, while people care about transparency, I found that the successful conversations with people that I've had that aren't always wine drinkers are, look, would you rather eat a tomato from a tomato in the backyard of a super small farmer who cares about him and looks over him every day, or do you want a tomato from the Heinz tomato factory?
Right.
Like, to me, wine
Straight
is,
up.
it's like, yeah, like
Seriously.
it's like it's an agricultural product, just like cheese or anything else, and I would rather have it from someone who's farming it in a cautious, patient way, and definitely without intervention. But I think people care about that, and I think people care about the story of the winemakers too. Like that's
Yeah.
at least that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, saving the wine industry, maybe not, but hopefully we'll see.
Transforming it.
Transforming it.
Yeah.
Agreed. I really think about the even it's really interesting between like the whole even so-called organic, so-called biodynamic, right?
Yep.
And everything, it gets really interesting when in the industry this is kind of untapped charted territories, but people are like, oh, I get headaches from this, or I get I can't drink this, or I can't drink that particular wine, and they get caught up in this kind of box. And it's really interesting because like organic was only a term coined in America is because we were spraying all,
Right.
we
Yeah.
were making all of our product bad, right? Like so in other areas you go to in the world, everything by default is organic.
Right.
So it doesn't need to. You get what I'm saying? And so this is
like Europe doesn't even use the word organic a lot.
No.
They
I mean,
use,
yeah.
Well, they use biologique, and like I'm thinking of. So I went to Raw Wine with Joel, who used to work with Jarett U.S. Wine Imports back in 2018, and one of the interesting discussions was with French master sommelier, whose name I am blanking on now, and I feel like an asshole. But she was talking.
Pascaline,
Thank you.
Lepeltier,
Yes,
yeah.
Pascaline.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, she was talking at length about how sick her family had become over a couple of generations because of the treatments that they had introduced into the vineyards. And so, like, treatments in the vineyards in the 70s in France were definitely a thing. And thankfully, a lot of them by the late 80s, early 90s were like, this is fucked, we got to stop. But I think of Spain, especially, as being the highest rate of organic production across the board because of their climate. And but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, even an organic approved treatment, like the Bordeaux mixture, right? The copper sulfate.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty toxic.
Yep.
Copper
Right.
as a heavy metal is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a complex affair.
Very.
But you all nailed it. You got the question right, Chris.
Nailed
Actually, you got an
it.
extra 100 points
What?
for giving me credit for the Georgian wine thing. That's awesome.
You're
So-
the truth child.
Yeah,
You're
that's
the
enough.
truth
That's an extra
child.
100 points for you.
Man.
So that's pretty cool. Let's really put you folks to the test here and roll into our next segment, which are the wine ciphers. So what we're going to do here is read you a tasting note from somewhere and then give you a selection of 4 wines that you can pick from and figure out which wine the tasting note describes. All right, so it's a tough one, but it's fun. I think people like it. You guys have done it before.
It's
Did
great.
you enjoy that segment? Yeah.
It's great.
People seem to like it, so we'll do it. Let's start with this one. The note reads, sensationally intense as it is expressive, with youthful aromas of elderberry, licorice, and tar. The plush tannins form a beautifully crafted, compact core that will give this wine a very long life, but still needs some bottle age to give its best. Okay? So that tasting note, youthful aromas, elderberry, licorice, tar, plush tannins. Is it the 21 Schiefer Blaufränkisch, the Reed Rehberg, Eisenberg an der Pinke bottling from Burgenland in Austria, the Schiefer Blaufränkisch? Or is it the 21 Cordero di Montezemolo Barolo, the 21 Domaine de Lampier Anima, that's a VDF Vin de France, Syrah
Great
Carignan.
wine.
Yeah, I had the other night. John, we had a different Lampier. It wasn't that one, but anyway. Or is it the 21 Marques de Murieta de Castello Ige, Rioja Gran Reserva?
Great. Wow.
It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I like that. Good job, Chad. That was.
We're not
trying to fool us here,
We're not
Chad?
throwing any softballs to you
No,
folks. I mean, you guys came with.
Okay. Okay. Elderberries. Tar.
youthful
I
aromas
thought of Monty
elderberry,
Python for a second. Sorry.
licorice, and tar. Yeah, plush tannins, beautifully crafted, compact core.
I'm gonna go with the Syrah.
Long life.
I'm gonna go with the Syrah.
Yeah.
The Syrah Carignan blend from Lempier.
Yeah.
Okay. There's
Okay, let me put you
I'll
down.
take the Marietta. Just to descent a little bit.
The
here.
Rioja Gran Reserva.
Yep.
Okay.
and it was Blaufränkisch. Syrah was the other.
There was the Schiefer
Was it-
Blaufränkisch, the Cordero di Montezemolo, Barolo.
No. I'm going with Syrah.
You're also on the Syrah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lempier. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds about right.
Okay.
And no
Yeah.
notes on color.
No.
All right.
That's what we had there.
That's fine.
It'd be a bummer if it was a white wine, wouldn't it? Really.
Don't do that.
But no, that is actually that's a tasting note from our man James Suckling for the 21 Schiefer Blaufränkisch.
Oh.
The Eisenberg
Damn,
Honda.
We all missed on
For a
that.
second,
I
but,
was
like-
thinking about it.
I was too.
I was
Because
thinking
like,
about that a lot.
but tar.
From Austria. It's interesting because the
what kind of soils we got
Blaufränkisch
going on?
can be super interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the last ones I've been tasting is from Michigan actually.
Yeah.
A lot of good Michigan Blaufränkisch.
Yeah, the Shady
The
Lane
Michigan
does
Blau.
one.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Love it.
and so I guess I that was my first point of reference, so that's why I went to the Syrah instead. But I did I love Austrian wines, by the way. They're fun.
Same.
Yeah. They can be quite good, and especially I think like the Schiefer. They're not using all the like it used to be years ago. Those Austrian Blaufränkisch, you would really load up with the oak and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they've pulled back, so I guess that's why you're
Okay.
getting this kind of note like that's beautifully crafted and compact in the core. Yeah, licorice and tar.
Try this wine.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds
the Schiefer.
delicious.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's give you another one here so you can
Get our points
see if
back
we can
up.
get some points on the board here because that was a big fat
Yeah.
zero for.
Oh,
Sorry.
Ouch.
You didn't read my thoughts, my fourth
I'm
dimension
sorry.
thoughts over here. Everything was in my head.
Same.
Let's
have to, like,
find
synergy
one.
more.
Let's find one that is. Let me see. I've got a few I can choose from here. Let's find something. What do you want? Red or white? I'll ask you that question. You guys can pick.
White.
White.
A white. Okay. Let's go with. How about? Let's go with this one. All right. Renowned for its complexity and depth. On the nose, it offers aromas of ripe yellow apples, Meyer lemons, ruby red grapefruit, with hints of passion fruit, sea salt, tonka bean, and allspice.
Come on. I want that right now. I
Yeah.
want all those
Tonka
things.
bean, let's
Come
go.
on.
Tonka
Talk to
bean.
me nice,
Okay.
Josh.
Okay.
The palate is rich and rounded, featuring flavors of ripe citrus and saline minerality, complemented by well-integrated toasted oak notes. The wine's bright acidity provides balance, leading to a layered, complex textural finish.
Does it now? Okay. All right.
Yeah, renowned for complexity and depth. On the nose, yellow apples, Meyer lemons, ruby grapefruit, and hints of passion fruit.
Ruby grapefruit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sea
Very
salt,
specific.
tonka bean, and allspice.
This puts it in a certain
It
some
really
region.
does. It
puts
really
it
does.
in some region.
Yeah.
Rich and rounded, featuring flavors of ripe citrus and saline minerality, complemented by well-integrated toasted oak notes. Bright acidity, layered and complex. Is it A,
Interesting.
the 12 Clos de la Coulée de Sorrent, the Savennier from Nicolas Joly? Is it the 16 Didier Dagenot Puy Fumé, the Silex bottling? The 21 Amistoy Guitarriaico Chaculina? Or the Adami Prosecco non-vintage Garbel
I'm gonna
from
say,
the Veneto? Yeah.
I'm gonna say no to 3 and 4.
I was going to
think
say
it's
one is not
Silex.
the same.
Yeah. One of these things is not.
So you said 3 and 4, so C and D. That would be the.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah,
saying
I'm
no
gonna say
to the
no.
Chocolate
Yeah.
and no to the Prosecco.
No,
so
that ain't chocolate.
That leaves the Puy Fumé from Dagenot, the Silex, or the Joly Coulée de Sorrent.
I think it's Silex.
I'm gonna go with the
Felix.
fumet.
Puy Fumé.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the fumet.
We are all in agreement.
Oh, you're all in agreement as to Didier Dagenot. Damn. Nailed it.
Oh, let's go.
That is, in fact.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
By our powers are combined.
Yes.
Captain Planet's about to pop in.
He's our hero.
Heart.
Yeah.
Earth, wind, water, fire.
Excellent.
Heart.
While I am tallying this, so that's 500 points
Captain
across the board. That's
Planet,
pretty good.
he's
That
our
was big.
hero.
While I am tallying these points, please prepare your glasses and take your first taste of the blind tasting wine that we have
Ooh,
sitting on the
okay.
table there.
Is that a red?
Red wine
Someone's gonna have to
makes me
pour it
feel
and
so
see what's
fine.
going on there, and I will tally the points. But yeah, it looks,
Whoa,
this
is
is
that
pretty
red?
impressive.
Oh, wow.
So this is see, 850 over here that Chris brought into that round. Catherine brought in 800.
Thank you,
And
sir.
we had 850 from Jarett on that one. Very good. Okay. So yeah, the emotive blind. While they're assessing that wine, dear listeners, I will tell you that it is a wine of deep amber color. We can say this. So during the emotive blind tasting, what we ask our panelists to do, of course, is not talk about the flavors and structure of the wine, but we ask them to tell us about the feelings that the wine evokes in them, right? So, we don't want to hear about, there's, lemons and peaches and whatever. You want an emotive response. Like, this wine excites me. It makes me think of a summer day. It reminds me of my grandmother's house or whatever it is. Or you have the option to, if you're not having a strong emotional response to it, you can describe the wine as if it were a person. Like, this is a haggard old man, who's drunk in the corner. I don't know. It's a guy who smokes too many cigarettes. He's got a dead-end job, something like that. Yeah, it's out there. So, yeah. And I see, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you're going to come up with because it looks like you're having emotional responses.
This wine makes me think of John King Books, the big one
Little
downtown.
musky.
yeah, downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary. Okay. Maybe I should also let you know that we have a tie for the lead right now too going into this. So your performances here are going to make or break.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have, and everyone's in reach, by the way. So Chris, you and Jarett are tied at 1,350 points, and Catherine, you're close on the heels at 1,300.
If you give Chad a compliment right now, you can get to our level.
I tried to compliment
love
his
Chad.
writing
Yeah, you gotta give
personally,
him-
and he
it's
just was
okay.
like, "No, I don't
It's
care."
fine. You gotta give him another one. Keep going.
Yeah, it's not over.
It's not over. It's okay.
We've learned that Sigourney Weaver is a Chad favorite, so that gets you a little extra points here and there.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, but
Yeah.
he doesn't care about compliments for his writing skills. It's fine.
So I'm sorry, you said this wine.
It makes me think of John King Books.
John King Books, yeah, right,
after I've taken my bike on a ride down through the city, I'm getting a lot of like asphalt, kind of tar. Like,
And John
those
King
kind
Books
of
is
flavor
it's
notes.
an old like
Yeah, John
dusty,
King. It's
like
this giant warehouse that has, I think, 4 different stories, and it's just filled to the brim with books, used books, antique books. I found a copy of National Geographic from 1921 there once. Very rare books as well, and it just has this wonderful like smell that you have to experience it. It's musty, but it's also like there's an energy
Yeah.
to it,
Very
a
cool.
tension,
very cool.
and this makes me think of that. That was my very first thought.
Awesome.
It's going to be hard to top.
Yeah, after
That's a pretty
after a
good
bike
one.
I know,
ride with
right?
a
It's
lot
good.
of like fresh tar.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty-
so like city smells.
Wow, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
City smells.
Gentlemen, yeah, she's laid a high bar
It's
there, a
tough.
high mark there for you guys. What are you gonna do?
So when you guys taste wine, would you say it's all related to feel?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, this exercise is funny because I feel like it's just how I think about wine when I try it anyways. It's almost like, what does this evoke from me? What does this remind me of? Not always like the specific people it reminds me of, but that's a fun wrinkle.
Yeah.
I think of a scene usually, like my brain constructs a bunch of different things that smell certain ways and build a scene out of it. So
Okay.
it's like John King Books after I've ridden my bike through the city.
Yeah,
Like
that's pretty
there's
cool.
a bunch of city smells and all of these other things that you might get, like magnolias might be in bloom because
Sure.
like I'm getting like a certain time of the year.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm getting a lot. I love that. I'm getting a lot of floral notes as well. So it's kind of putting me in a certain kind of frequency
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
So
there's like
know,
tension waiting to like burst out.
Totally.
yeah.
Kind of thing.
I'm
Yeah.
going to get a little weird here. I hope
it.
that's okay.
Do
Yeah, you can do it. Go for
do
it, yeah.
it. Do it.
I don't know if y'all have read or seen The Count of Monte Cristo, but it's a great book, great movie. There's like a new version. It's not the Guy Pearce one. There's a newer one. Good flick. There's this moment where he has realized that he's been he's been screwed over by his partner, and his partner has stolen his wife and sent him to this life imprisonment, and he breaks out. And, you know, there's this moment where he's starting to kind of like he finds this massive fortune, and now it's all about revenge.
Okay.
And I feel like there's this moment in this wine, the tension really like it's kind of waiting to burst. It's got this like mystique, it's got this mysteriousness to it, and he's now going to go on his revenge tour.
Wow.
And it's still opening up. So
Yeah.
weird,
You
but
can
What
go
kind
to
of
John
personality
King.
would this wine be? Like,
You
what
go to
kind of
John King
energy?
and get that
what
book.
kind of astrology sign would this? What kind of astrology sign would this
Oh.
wine be?
Well, that's your job to tell
Yeah,
us.
that's your
Oh,
yeah.
You haven't given us your emotive responses, so you tell us.
Yeah, come on.
Let's do it. Let's put this. I don't know. That's pretty new. Let's put this in an astrology sign.
All right.
Yeah, and so I love what everything you guys were saying, because it is provoking a certain kind of feeling.
yeah.
A certain kind of time. I'm thinking like a garden. I had the John Coltrane in the background, giant
Ooh.
steps playing.
Okay.
And just, you know, so I always think about some of the best music always has a little bit of tension in it, right? Something that really, and so that's what I always think about, like what resonates. So even when it comes to feeling, I say even like one of the best ways to discern dreams is through feeling, and you feel even in your chakra energy points, where you feel in your body.
Sure.
So it's interesting. So we can do like, you know, I do, you know, even if you take yourself through the vibrations and you go, like that in your body is literally telling you something and giving you a feeling within your body within that time.
Cool.
I'm gonna say this is like a Sagittarius.
Oh,
Is there any Sagittariuses in here?
no.
I think I'm
Oh,
Gemini.
Man, Gemini.
He's
I'm on the line.
Do you know
When's your
moon?
birthday?
I'm on May 21st. I think I'm on the line of
cusp
Gemini. Yeah,
and
cusp.
Taurus.
Exactly.
I'm a Gemini, Scorpio.
Whoa,
Dang.
that's deep and dark.
Hello.
Dark?
That's very
Hello.
deep and dark.
Yes.
Hello.
I don't know.
Hi.
Okay. So you said Sagittarius wine, huh?
Sagittarius, yeah.
All right.
So exactly kind of what you guys are kind of saying. So they say Sagittariuses represent the top of the fire. So I think about all elements represent pretty much earth, wind, water, and fire. Back to our captain planet, right?
Our hero.
That's right.
Our hero. So this
Brings
is,
pollution down to zero.
This is a very fiery wine and very independent wine. It's doing what it wants to, and it's gonna literally come into fruition when it wants to, and so that's why it reminds me of kind of the Sagittarius energy. They say the Sagittarius energy is the tip of the fire. So I'm a Leo, so I'm the mid fire. The Aries has like the low fire,
Yep.
and Sagittarius represents the tip of the fire.
See, I was going to go on a different route when you started talking about zodiac shit. I was going to go with Virgo because of like the resonance that I'm getting from this and the tension of it. It makes me think of very earthbound kind of like waiting to spring forward, because I was thinking of like magnolias in bloom. Like it's springtime, there's tension. You're ready to ride your bike and go on a tour of the city and go down somewhere, and there's all of these smells and you're finally full of life and you're getting ready to spring up. And that's why I was thinking Virgo.
Man,
Wow.
Wow, powerful.
man,
Powerful.
man, we have to might bring these astrology signs.
That was an interesting set of responses. You've got revenge tour on your enemies. You've got different,
Yeah, the count 'em out,
different
Chris
moon
said.
signs. That's right.
Cool. Does anyone want to take a guess as to what it is?
Oh,
You know, just as far as you want to go with it.
that
Doesn't,
part.
you know, it's no, you don't have to do it. It's
Well-
just if you know
Can I actually
something.
try a little bit more of that and make sure it's good?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the point is not
Gotta test it,
this,
gotta
but
test it.
just if it, you know,
Thanks, Chris.
does it
Can I have a little
ring
Scotch
any
wine?
bells or fire any kind of familiarity?
I mean, it
Points.
does feel familiar.
Yeah.
I think like something's bringing me to Italy and Slovenia.
Yeah,
that
like
area.
freely.
Because it's not quite giving me Georgian vibes, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
I like where you're at with that a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting like, I think it's Italian. I don't.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's. Who wants to crack it and reveal what the wine is
I
for
almost
us?
want to. I feel like I should give something more than until we reveal it, right? Like Jarett, give a grape varietal, give
A
something.
grape, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You're really, all right, go.
We're
That's
going
fine.
for it.
Go ahead,
Try.
yeah.
I'm thinking Italy.
Oh
Slovenia.
man, it's not like
It's
I've never
hard
heard
to-
of skin contact Vermentino.
I like.
Let's see. I kind of got a little like Catalonia vibes from this. I don't know, like that. I
love
could
that.
see Italy. Yeah, maybe like some like skin
So-
contact
Slovenia.
Macabeo or something like that.
Yeah, I had a really nice Viura from Losa.
Ooh,
Yeah, the other day it was really good. That yeah, kind of similar, and maybe a little bit lighter in color, but
sure,
it was Viura from Rioja region. Skin contact like that.
nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's
Ribella?
I'm thinking that it's an out there varietal. I'm thinking, and I like what you guys were saying. I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe Slovenia. I actually like the. Did somebody say Georgian?
Yeah, I was like, it's not quite giving me Georgian vibes,
I don't
but
know.
it could.
There
Like a little rascatelli.
there's something
or
in mid palate in that where it's just really
Yeah.
like there's something really deep and kind of mystic about it. I like the who said bookshelves.
Me. Yeah.
I like
John Cage.
I like their bookshelf reference
Yeah.
a lot.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man, varietal. Oof, I don't know. Let's reveal it.
Yeah, crack it open.
Let's reveal it.
Okay.
Let's reveal.
Let's reveal.
There's
So it sounds like
this
you liked
time.
the wine, is what I think it's fair to
Yeah,
say.
it's
Y'all
nice.
liked the wine.
Really
It's nice. I
Yeah.
like it.
Nice.
God, there's like
Yeah, I'm
tape.
sorry. The zipper broke, so I just used
It's
some
okay.
masking tape.
Zipper broke.
I know I didn't get a chance to fix it. Yeah.
Can't see it. Oh, it is Georgian.
Go.
It's okay.
Wow.
There we go. Chad and the Georgian one.
Casey
He did
and
tee that up for us too. He's
Kevi.
taking credit for the Georgia wine here now.
You're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
See, it's yeah.
Casey and Kikevi. I think I'm saying
That's
right.
delicious.
Kikvi. Yeah, Kikvi. Yeah, Kisi Kikvi wine.
Nice.
It's the which vintage of 2020 from Rocha.
19.
Yeah,
19.
the 19. Rocha
Gravitas.
Gravitas.
Is this like amphora aged
Yeah.
or okay?
Kevri.
Yeah.
Every yep.
Quevri they call
Guys,
it.
what's
Kevri.
what spice is that
Nice.
mid palate? There's something there that's just like really jumping out to me.
I got a little like tobacco
Cardamom.
going on, but I think your asphalt was a good.
I like the
Yeah.
asphalt too.
Yeah.
I get like a cardamom thing.
Yeah, it's a complex wine, but generally that has a little bit, the tannin level on that is not as aggressive as some of the
No,
Georgian
right.
amber wines can be. So I understand why you're getting thrown off by it, because it is a bit unusual, I think,
Yeah.
particularly given, if you know the Kaheti wines,
Yeah.
within that range there, it's a lighter style of amber.
It's lovely.
It's pretty.
It's interesting wine. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that wine over the years. I think it's great. Well, good. You guys did an excellent job. Do you want to hear the scores?
Scores.
All right.
Scores.
So Catherine came from behind and she swept it. She took it.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Listen, it was the bookstore.
Job, Captain.
Good job. It was a bookstore thing, highlighted by the bike riding aspect. That's my, again, it just went to me personally. That's just my own prejudice. I'm like, I love the bike riding.
I like it.
Riding.
I like it too.
That
I
was
get that.
scary,
He got
actually.
into it.
Yeah,
no,
she was
I
into it.
enjoyed
That was
it.
good.
Thanks so much.
No,
So that
I
earns
enjoyed
you
it.
5,000 points, putting you at 6,300. And then don't forget, you earned an extra 1,000 points by carrying the show. That was the responsibility. So 7,300 points.
Thank you.
And then you gentlemen remained neck and neck. You were tied, and you both came in at 5,350 plus
All right.
your 1,000-point bonus.
It's respectable.
6,300. This is an incredible team score. So I'm gonna have to go to the records. We'll notify you, but I'm gonna have to go to the records and see. But this may be an all-time high.
Oh my goodness.
As long as I beat Jared Guild, I'm happy. That's it.
Yeah. See, they had at that time there were some pizza scores in there, or some shapes or something. So that's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Got it.
We might have to plug this into AI and find out.
Oh man.
Yes,
There we go. There we go.
Sorry, Catherine. I didn't mean to tarnish your victory with the AI. But hey, listen, it was a great show. It was a blast having you folks out. You didn't drink enough wine, so we're gonna, when we sign off, we're gonna crack some bottles and
I like it.
eat some
That
pizza.
sounds great.
Eat some pizza and get into it.
Yeah.
So,
Would love that.
yeah. Thanks so much for coming out.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Jarett, thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Chris
Cheers,
Hunter.
guys. Cheers, guys. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Cheers.
Yes.
Stay well.